Today, the House passes a bill banning imports from China over Uyghur slave labor. We've got the latest on that. Also, the Pfizer CEO now says that you will need a fourth dose of the vaccine to be completely protected. Yes, you did hear yesterday that he said a third. Now it's a fourth. We've got a lot to get into today, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I'm Sarah Gonzalez. You may have noticed I made a face right as we cut to the open because my phone started ringing and I forgot to silence it. But it is silenced now. Yaku was like, I guess what do you want to just play your own intro music?
Yeah, that's what I thought you were doing.
Well, everyone says the new intro music sucks. So I was trying to find a new one.
I was waiting for like a Rocky song to come up or something.
I was trying to find a new one. BlazeTV contributor Yaku Buyan's here, also joined by Pat Gray, host of Pat Gray Unleashed. Thank you guys both for being here. So let me get into this first story here. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill yesterday, that would ban the importation of products made in the Xinjiang area, the Xinjiang region of China, due to concerns about their country's treatment of religious and ethnic minorities. This was passed overwhelmingly. It was the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, and it was passed by a vote of 428 to 1. Excuse me. It just so happens now that we start. So it's going to impose economic sanctions on this northwest region of China because of this slave labor. I'm going to let you take it for a second.
Yeah, we'll take it. Pat, I think for me it's timely because if we really pull the veil back and we pull the curtain back on all things China, beyond COVID, just historically what China has done, and we've got another story later in the episode on banning them on other things, on boycotting on sports. I think it is time for me personally for us to take a real serious look at China. When we look at the supply and demand crisis in the US, when we look at outsourcing so much under this administration, again, sending jobs away, not filling jobs that's available here in the US. So I like the activity in the media around China at the moment. I like that there's some heat, that they're feeling a little uncomfortable, and it seems like they are a little uncomfortable. So for me, it's great because the people are oppressed, and then we can get into the things of, just micromanaging families to how many children you can have, and women's rights, and in the form of you're talking slave labor, but human trafficking and all that in China that is very prevalent, although they say it is not. I welcome this. I welcome any action against China to say, hey, we're going to start looking at you because they hate that.
Yeah, it is interesting, Pat, because it seems like not that long ago, only several years ago. I mean, this has been going on for a very long time, and you couldn't get the Democrats to recognize or admit that it was actually happening. So why do you think that there has been traction now all of a sudden?
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
I don't know, frankly. I mean, I'm glad to see them doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of hope it doesn't turn out to be boycotting the Olympics with the athletes, though. The athletes have been training for this their whole lives. And like in 1980, when we boycotted Russia, or the Soviet Union at the time, it's something that penalizes, people who have been training their entire lives rather than the Chinese. I mean, do the Chinese care if we don't show up? They just win more medals. And so I hope they find a different way to punish them other than boycotting with the games. Like moving the Olympics might be a nice idea. Yaku was just talking about moving it to Park City, Utah, which could definitely hold the games again.
In short order.
Yeah.
Do we know, what would have to happen in order for that to a move to take place, I wonder?
The IOC, the International Olympic Committee, the IOC would have to make
They would just have to make that decision.
But the move would come through pressure. They're not going to just do it.
Right.
Because they're friendly with China, right? So the move would have to come where you have the US and maybe people like Russia or the UK. Normally, United Kingdom normally is pretty good on this kind of stuff, The UK or other countries, Australia, New Zealand, some of the big contenders in Winter Games in sports say, hey, we're banding together, because the right way to boycott is to boycott the country, to strike them economically, because it's a huge economic steroid shot to host, right? This is why countries want to host. And so that would be the way to do it. But I don't see them doing it if it's just the U.S. with saying, and I'm with Pat, the athletes shouldn't pay the price ever. But man, it would be fun to see it just move.
Yeah, and I wonder at that point, and I want to get into, because I know we've been discussing this diplomatic boycott. I know yesterday we talked about Canada joined the diplomatic boycott of the Olympics over in Beijing. But so let's, hypothetically speaking, let's say that did happen and they said, you know what, we're going to have it in Utah. We've heard you guys. We understand. We're going to make the move. At that point, then, does the United States allow China to come?
It's tricky because
right, like, and then is China coming here?
Yeah, but Pat was mentioning, we boycotted Russia, so Russian gymnasts couldn't perform. South Africa was boycotted for 3 decades.
Yeah,
our first Olympics was 1996 in Atlanta, and we could only send 4 athletes at the time. We sent a bit of a larger squad, but we were boycotted because of racism, of course, right? Apartheid, but. Probably the Chinese athletes under that condition probably won't go if you really want to make a statement. But I think the statement of just taking the economic influx from them is enough. I mean, it's going to hurt. It hurts. I mean, you're talking about major money, and that would be the way to make them feel it. I don't know that they feel it with an economic boycott. I don't know if they feel it.
And aside from the financial impact, it's also it's a prestige boost to get the Olympics as well. And I think they'd be very affected by that. It would be an
embarrassment, a black eye, to have it taken from you. How it normally works is you have a bidding war as a host city. So there's already a number 2, like what we saw in Rio, and if for whatever reason, if a city falls through, they can't build the facilities fast enough or whatever. So I don't know that Utah is number 2. It just would be cool to bring it to Park Cities. But there is a number 2, and it may be Poland for that matter. I don't know. There is a number 2 that if China couldn't deliver, or there's an outbreak or whatever, but. Man, that would be fun.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Utah. It could be Lake Placid. It could be somewhere in Europe.
Right. So I mentioned China has a response now because of this diplomatic boycott is gaining traction, I guess, and they threatened the United States over their diplomatic boycott. They said that the U.S. is acting contrary to the spirit of the Olympics. Their foreign ministry spokesperson said that the U.S. was interfering with the competition, quote, out of ideological prejudice and based on lies and rumors, and that the boycott seriously violates the principle of political neutrality of sports established by the Olympic Charter and runs counter to the Olympic motto, more united. He also said that China would respond with resolute countermeasures, but he did not say any details. He said the U.S. will pay a price for its practices. You may stay tuned for follow-ups. That's what he said. It is interesting because I feel like, I don't know. I'm going out on a ledge and I'm saying I feel like the human rights abuses and the slave labor camps kind of cross being a political thing. Like, I'm not sure that counts as being politically neutral to just say, like, hey, I feel like we could all just agree that those things are bad and have it not be about politics.
Sarah,
I don't know. It's crazy.
There are athletes that will be competing for China in this very Olympics in their own country that are being abused by their state. That's a great point. So they're abusing some of their own athletes have come out over time. Some of their boxers in the Olympics have said, hey, I can't sleep. I got to train 20 hours a day like Russia used to do, Nadia Comaneci in the gymnast, right? So this is the biggest hogwash. They're abusing their own athletes.
Don't they have a tennis player right now that's like missing?
Yeah, missing. Was kidnapped because she dared speaking out on the oppression.
So she said sexual harassment.
We should actually, as a matter of fact, it should be moved. It shouldn't be held there. And we should actually free their athletes from their own government and let them go to another country and go perform free for a minute. But no, it's rank through their whole administration. They oppress people for sure.
Yeah, Pat, what do you think of the spokesperson saying that these are out of ideological prejudice and based on lies and rumors?
I'd like to know what the lies and rumors are. I think they're trying to say that the Uyghurs are fine.
Yeah.
But those are just summer camps?
Well, it's re-education.
Yeah.
Okay, they asked to go through all the...
What does a little education hurt? Even if it's re-educating somebody. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows. Everybody on this planet with a brain knows what's happening to the Uyghurs, and 1 million of them that are in camps that are not just those aren't pleasant camps. That they're being greatly abused there, and there's some really terrible human rights violations going on.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who have escaped the camps and
talked
about the horrible things that they're doing.
These are concentration camps, and anything happens in there. You got to understand. Also, not everybody inside the camp is a good guy either. It's like taking a woman to a shelter, and they go, "Oh, she's safe." No, get abused in the shelter. So you have to understand. There's no help for them once they're in there. You're quote unquote, deplorable. But I'm quite shocked actually that Biden's administration takes any action. And I'm glad they are taking some sort of action.
What do you think that?
But he takes
changed?
zero of that kind of action for some of the atrocities happening in this country.
Yeah.
So it's always elsewhere. And it's a little bit of, and it's right that they should, and there should be stronger measures. I'm a little confused by it, to be honest with you, because there's love between those two camps. That's probably why they feel embarrassed. They weren't invited to the wedding. What do you mean Biden is not going to show up? What do you mean Trump, they would expect for him to go, screw you guys. We're not sending anybody, right? As a matter of fact, we're going to come after you. But I think it hurts deeply because there is a love affair between China and the Biden administration. So it's bizarre. It's weird for me.
Well, because think about the pass that the Biden administration has given them on, unleashing a deadly virus on the entire world. And knowing that was happening and covering it up and having the World Health Organization cover it up as well. I mean, aside from all of this, there is a huge reason for the Biden administration to have a big problem with China. And he still didn't have a problem.
But Sarah, I can't get the Biden administration, and we try, trust me. And I mean, not the administration and everybody down all the way to Border Patrol. I can't get them to help us with the human rights violations on the Texas border.
Yeah.
I was in last week, right? They won't even pay attention to it. But they pay attention to this, so it is a little bizarre to me. I'm thankful because somebody should step up, and now Canada has stepped up, and I really hope the UK and other countries do step up quickly and say, "Hey, China, this is not okay," and maybe something happens. But I was surprised when I saw the Biden administration make a move like this. That surprised me.
Yeah. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Hunter Douglas. So when you get home, obviously that is your dwelling. That is the place where you want to just be at ease. But surely you want to be comfortable and also stylish. Hunter Douglas can help you do that with their innovative window shade designs. They've got really awesome fabrics. And my favorite part personally is that their control systems for their window shades are so advanced, they can actually be scheduled to automatically adjust to their optimal position throughout the day. So, maybe you have this really harsh sunlight that comes through your window at a certain time of the day. You can pre-program it to make sure to lower itself so that you don't walk out into the kitchen to go get your coffee and you're blinded by sunlight. Also, I know sometimes I have a newer house, but I know you can live in a house where you live there long enough and you go, I just want to do something new, right? I just want to update it somehow. I'm tired. I want to make it more trendy. You really have no idea how much of a difference getting new window treatments can make. It can make the room look like an entirely different room. You got to go to Hunter Douglas website right now. You can live beautifully with Hunter Douglas. You can enjoy greater convenience, enhanced style, and increased comfort in your home throughout the day. Visit hunterdouglas.com/why today for your free Style Gets Smarter design guide. It's going to have creative ideas, smart solutions for dressing your windows. That is hunterdouglas.com/why for your free design guide. YouTube has strict community guidelines over what we can and cannot say about COVID-19 vaccines and treatments. If YouTube deems we've somehow violated these guidelines, we risk YouTube cutting off our ability to communicate to you. With that said, the discussions which follow are not meant to provide medical advice. Please seek the advice of local health officials for any COVID-19 and/or COVID vaccine-related questions and concerns. Hey, Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla revealed yesterday that he thinks Americans will need to receive eventually a fourth dose of the COVID-19 vaccine as concerns grow about this Omicron variant. Now, I want to get into what he actually said, but I want to play a little refresher from not too long ago. It was actually yesterday, around the same time that this was going on, that Pfizer's own chief scientist said that 3 doses of their vaccine can combat Omicron. Here is this doctor saying that the 3rd boost is going to raise your antibodies to the level that you need. Watch.
We believe that with the 2 doses, you still have relevant protection for severe disease. But clearly the drop in antibodies is substantial. However, the good news this morning is that our data show convincingly when you get your boost, the 3rd boost, the antibody level rise 25-fold and are now similar to the originally 2-dose boost that protected well against ancestral strains as well as Delta. So all in, go and get your 3rd boost and you have a robust, quite impressive antibody response.
So the 3rd boost, he says, this is the actual scientist that Pfizer has, their chief scientist, saying the 3rd boost is going to give you an impressive level of antibodies. That is what you need, the 3rd boost. Same time, same day that this was going on, the Pfizer CEO actually said, he was asked about Israel already working on their 4th shot. You know, they're going to need that 4th booster to be fully vaccinated. And asking him about that, he says, I think we will need the 4th dose. I've said that multiple times. With the previous, I was projecting that will be on 12 months after the 3rd dose. But with Omicron, we need to wait and see because we have very little information. We may need it faster. Just to update you, the CDC is already recommending a 3rd booster shot for all eligible Americans 18 and older. And that's 6 months after a full vaccination, which as of right now, are you confused yet? As of right now means 2 shots. But Fauci and others have already said, well, the definition of fully vaccinated is going to change as we get more and more into this. And by the way, in other news, the FDA is authorizing a Pfizer booster for 16 and 17-year-olds. So they are going to be allowed. Oh, thank goodness. They're going to be allowed to get a 3rd dose of the vaccine at least 6 months after their initial vaccination. I
was so worried that they weren't going to be allowed to do that.
Were you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was really scared.
Well, the 16 and 17-year-olds, I mean, they are really at risk. So that was scary for them. Yeah.
Yeah. And Pfizer, what a surprise that they're saying a 4th booster shot now? Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if surely that has nothing to do with the money that they're making.
Oh, no.
No, because this is all about health.
Yes.
Right? This is about protecting Americans.
Well, these were free. These were free boosters.
These are free boosters?
Yeah, they're free vaccines.
Really?
They always say they're free.
Yeah, there's such a thing as something that's free in life. This mug, if I walk out with this mug, it's free to me.
They're
It costs nobody nothing. It's
totally free.
Yeah.
Well, you just spend more money if you need money for it. They're free.
They've already told us that just with the initial vaccine, it was going to be the biggest selling drug in the history of the world. And it was well on its way to that. And I think it's already surpassed whatever was the previous number one.
It tends to happen when the government is in bed with Big Pharma to buy it.
Yeah. And then the 3rd booster really boosted profits. And now the 4th booster is, this is a booster is a great word for what it's doing to the profits at Pfizer.
Yeah. That's why they call it that.
Yeah. Yes.
I want to draw
boosting their profits. That's a great point, Pat.
I want to draw a parallel here. The scientist who goes over the microscope, who stands in the lab, says, hey, 3 is enough. The CEO goes, hold on, buddy. You don't do the quarterly reports. You don't report to the shareholders. You step over there. I want to keep my job as a CEO. It's the 4th quarter. I want a golden package next year. I'm going to renegotiate my salary. I say booster number 4 because I want to be king of the castle. That's what's happening here. The scientist says 3 is enough. The CEO goes, whoa, hey. I talked to the shareholders. We need to show profit. This is the biggest scam in human history ever, this whole thing. From Wuhan day 1 until now, or pre-Wuhan until now. And it will not stop. Booster number 7 will be discussed at this table.
Yeah.
It will be discussed here.
I was going to say, probably within 6 months.
As long as we say yes. And notice what the report said. Americans really need. So goes this country on this issue, so goes the world. If the Americans take the number 4, the whole world will take number 4, right? And no mind that Israel's numbers spiked through the roof and everybody is 7 times vaccinated, booster number, who knows what, right?
Cases are still spiking.
And they're decimating their elderly community, right? Now, congestive heart issues and other issues, which is an older population as it is. Go look at the Dominican Republic, same thing's happening, a very large disproportionate elderly class. But no, booster number 7, we'll talk about it because he's sitting fat cat. Albert's a fat cat. That's Fat Albert. Right? Hey, Fat Albert.
That was actually really good.
Albert is sitting there and he's going, Ray, roll him in. I'm CEO of the year.
Yeah, it's just incredible. People cannot see the conflict of interest here. I want to, one more kind of in this same vein. The United States Senate voted yesterday to repeal Joe Biden's federal vaccine mandate. I know we discussed that the vote was going to take place. It was actually 52-48 because it was all of the Republican senators plus Joe Manchin plus John Tester, which I didn't know who that was until this very moment. But it's got to be embarrassing for the Biden administration because every time this comes back up in court, they get ruled against. And you've even got the Senate that was able to get, they were able to get 2 Democrats, which doesn't sound like it's a big deal. But I think right now, that's a big deal for the Republicans to get.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to go to the House? No, I'm sure Nancy Pelosi won't bring it to the floor. But I think that just that in itself has got to be really embarrassing for the Biden administration. They continue to lose on this issue that they keep pushing.
Yeah. And the Republicans can say, hey, look, we had bipartisan support on shutting this down. Bipartisan support. Because that's what they continually harp on if they ever get a single Republican. So they should be really ringing that bell right now.
Yeah, so true. Jaco, last word on this.
I just, look, it's overreach. It's been overreached from day one. It's unconstitutional. They can't do it. And I'm just glad some judges are still just letting the law be the law.
It did make me nervous when it was going to court. I'm like, oh, I don't have faith that these judges are not going to legislate from the bench.
Fortunately, a lot of them are Trump appointees.
Yes.
And they're doing the right thing. Many of them.
It's paying for us.
Yeah.
The 200 and what is it? 287 or whatever.
Yeah, he filled a lot of judgeships.
A lot of judgeships, and that's probably paying for us. Thank you,
huge dividends
President Trump.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's paying
by the way, I saw a story: San Jose Sharks to require negative COVID-19 test or proof of vaccination for children 3 to 11. So.
Wow.
Yeah, children 3 to 11.
I told you it's going to go down to in vitro if they can. They will put it into
You're not wrong.
No,
you're not
inject
wrong.
it in the belly if they could.
This is incredible. Statistically, they have a 0% chance of dying from this. Children that young, and still. Incredible. All right, we could go on all day about this, but we'll wrap that part of it up. We want to thank our sponsor, iTargetPro. So if it's still time to get something for Christmas, if you are looking for something for someone on your list who loves the Second Amendment, loves their firearms, you got to get iTargetPro. This system allows you to dry fire practice with your actual firearm in your home. So you're going to be safe, you're going to be private in your home. But the best part to me is that, I don't know if you've noticed, but the cost of ammunition has gone through the roof. So the amount of money you're going to save just in the cost of ammunition and in the range fees, this thing is going to pay for itself in one day. And it really is fun. And actually, this was my son's first experience with a firearm. Was with iTargetPro. You put the laser bullet into your firearm and you can just start your training experience. So he's shooting over and over and over again, learning the gun, learning the weapon, learning the trigger pull, which every gun is different. So it's important that you learn your particular gun. And I felt good knowing this is safe. This is a fun way to let him understand this weapon. So whatever the case may be, whoever wants to train to make sure that they are sharper with their firearm, you got to get iTargetPro. You can go to iTargetPro.com right now, save 10%, plus get free shipping with the offer code NEWS. That is TargetPro.com, 10% off and free shipping with offer code NEWS. So I talked yesterday about this McConnell-Schumer debt limit deal. Of course, Mitch McConnell and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer decided to strike a deal to raise the debt limit. Mitch McConnell said he only needed 10 senators. So it was McConnell who voted for this deal, Let's see, John Thune, John Barrasso, Roy Blunt, Joni Ernst, Tom Tillis, Richard Burr, John Cornyn, Lisa Murkowski, Shelley Moore Capito, Roger Wicker, Susan Collins, Rob Portman, and Mitt Romney. So this was, of course, a procedurally creative deal because they were using a bill preventing Medicare cuts as a vehicle for language allowing the Senate to increase the debt limit via a simple majority on a one-time basis. So it's basically going to allow the Republicans to be like, I didn't vote on the final bill. But they, of course, these Republicans that I just mentioned are the ones who allowed it to actually get to that point and then say, no, I didn't vote to increase the debt limit. Nasty stuff going on here. I said yesterday, who needs enemies when you have friends like these?
Yeah. And it was Mitch McConnell who was looking for the Republicans to do just that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a dirty game they're playing. And it's interesting that those are all the Republicans that you would expect to play this dirty game and play right along with the Democrats so they can continually raise the debt ceiling ad infinitum. Where does it ever stop? And the answer, of course, is nowhere. It never stops anywhere. The sky is the limit for the debt ceiling. And we're just going to, there's no way to pay it off as it is.
No.
So I guess they figure, why not just keep going?
Yeah, well, do you remember when we talked not that long ago about this extension that they made so that they could wait and vote on it in December? And now they're doing this in December and they're just extending it again and they'll just extend it again and again and again with no end in sight. Why not just kick the can down the road?
And now we're actually starting to get some of the ill effects from all of the all of the spending and all of the debt that we have in inflation.
Yeah.
And we're just fortunate
inevitable.
it's not 40% now.
Yeah.
But it will go.
But it will go to that.
It's got to, Pat. I mean, how inflation in the president's net got to be inflation. You can't. You get in water, you get wet. That's it. The inflation's coming, and it's going to be epic. I've written some bills that were sponsored by some congressmen, and I can tell you this kind of gymnastics happens all the time.
Yeah.
And it's plausible deniability for those 14. Was it 14? This is just what I want to say. I want to call a spade a spade. Up at that upper echelon, there's one party. There's one party. Mitch McConnell is not a conservative. He's not a Republican.
Never has been.
That guy is Chuck Schumer's buddy. It's one party. They run as a pack. They protect each other. Forget about the American people. They will croak there. They will be there 150 years if they could. Could not care less about the American people. It's reckless abandon. And I want the conservatives to wake up and understand that we call the deep state and whatever. There is a faction within the government that they don't care party line. Just go to Washington, D.C. any night, Monday through Friday, at 4:30 p.m., walk into the hotel lobbies, and you watch red and blue sit and broker deals together over martinis and scotch on behalf of the American people, okay?
Probably with a lobbyist at the table with them.
Absolutely.
But it
100%.
always seems, and I don't disagree with you, however, it always seems like it's the Republicans who are caving. In instances where the Democrats know that they've already drawn a line, they don't cave.
That's right.
They don't care. It's always the Republicans who are going, well, okay, we don't want to look like the bad guys.
Because we take money from them, Sarah. Let's just call it, there's so many conservative politicians in this country that takes money from the left.
Yeah.
In getting into office. They're compromised on their way into office. Then when they're in office, hey, the piper calls, you pay him. That's it. That's what this is.
It is interesting. I did see a Project Veritas video. I wish that I could remember the gentleman's name, but he's running in Arizona as a conservative who, publicly he's like, I think, I believed in the audit. I'm a Trump guy. I'm this, I'm that. And then they got him on video behind closed doors like, I just have to say that stuff. That was stupid. They shouldn't have spent money on that. If Trump endorses me, I'm not gonna advertise that. So much different.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's like, that's what happened. That's how we have these idiots in Congress.
So you get a Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, that's exactly how.
Yeah.
And I mean, we tried really hard years ago to get rid of Mitch McConnell.
Yes.
I mean, we fought hard against Mitch McConnell and encouraged people in Kentucky to vote for what was his name?
Matt Bevin?
Yes,
Yeah.
Matt Bevin.
Yes.
Who is an actual conservative.
Yeah.
There
Yes.
are scant few of them anywhere in the country anymore.
Yeah.
Conservatives are like an endangered species right now.
Yeah.
Most of these people in office right now are not conservative.
No. I mean, Mitt Romney, I'm like, you might as well just change your party affiliation at this point.
Absolutely.
Why would you even call yourself a Republican?
Yeah. Pathetic.
Do you think I hear people are very unhappy with him.
In Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like they're
I would
not.
hope so.
I know, but
if they're not, they sure should be.
Well, I'm wondering what's going to happen the next time his name comes up on the ballot.
Yeah, I hope they learned their lesson by now. But I mean, the guy did a great job with the Olympics in 2002. He did, and I think that endeared him to a lot of Utahns.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm
sorry.
not. It's just
Let's
funny.
let go of that now.
Right.
It's 20
That's the
years
silver
later.
lining. The 20 years
It
ago,
is
silver lining.
20 years later. The guy was essentially a Democrat when he was the governor of Massachusetts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he was pro-choice. He was completely on the other side of the aisle, even though he had an R after his name. That was just in name only. And it's time to let go of the 2002 Olympic Games.
I feel like we need
time to let go.
That's amazing. That's so good with what's coming. I feel like we need to polygraph all these guys, on every little issue, because they lie. They lie their way in. I mean, if you could just track, I'm telling you, how many leftist organizations and corporations fund conservative campains. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
These guys take the money and they know where it comes from because it's about them. It's not about the people. So it's just why I'm saying be careful who you vote for. And people vote so blindly, especially in this country. They vote popularity or riding that laurel, that 20-year Olympic laurel. Yes, hey, I remember.
Well, I mean, it's like how many times can Mitt Romney stab you in the back and betray you before you finally say, all right.
But we learn
need
so
someone else.
slow in this country.
I know. I mean, especially now. I'm like, are we
slow.
going to wait until it's too late to turn things around before these people finally wake up? I don't know. All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a break a little early because I want to get into the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to do that. So let's thank our sponsor, Built Bar. So here's the thing, guys. I know at the end of the year, we overindulge, and then by January, we're like, okay, well, now my New Year's resolution has to be to lose weight because I just gained 20 pounds over the holidays. What you need to do is get yourself stocked with Built Bar because it is going to help you when you are tempted with all the cakes and the pies and all of the holiday goodies. Instead of eating those, you can have your Built Bars, which taste great. They taste like you're eating a candy bar or a dessert that's bad for you. They're all covered in real chocolate, but they are going to be low in calories, low in sugar, low in carbs, low in fat, and of course high in protein. So it's going to keep you full. Really, really is delicious. I eat them every day. They've got a ton of different flavors. So you have to go over to the website and choose. My personal favorite are the chocolate chip cookie dough. Love the coconut one. It tastes like a Mounds bar. And you know what? Get a mixed box and they'll give you a couple of each flavor and then you can figure out which one is your favorite and then stock up. You can go to built.com, use promo code news15. You'll get 15% off of your order. That is news15 over at built.com. The Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking trial was delayed today as a lawyer. Okay, so this is all we know right now. A lawyer reported an illness and the jurors were sent home. This was supposed to be the final day before the prosecution rested its case. Now, this was not expected to have, they said there's no connection to COVID-19. And they also were delayed on Wednesday due to a juror who reportedly had a, quote, substantial train issue. And so that day, the prosecution decided against calling a number of witnesses. Look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just bringing you the facts of what's going on. I'm just saying, if Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, we just need to pay attention to everything that's going on in this particular trial. I'd love to know what illness the lawyer had. Hope it's not poison. But look, Yaku, I know you work to fight sex trafficking. So I'm sure you're tuned in to this case. What can you tell us?
It doesn't. I can almost script what's going to happen next. There will be snafu after snafu in this, and it's been since day one. The key witness is not even allowed to testify. Virginia Roberts will not testify. She's the key witness. This trial is so fast. Think again. I'm just going to juxtapose it with Kyle Rittenhouse. Think about that trial. Think about this trial. You're going to have 3 witnesses? 3? Really? Over a 30-year period of abusing children and abusing minors? This case is the public can't see it.
Right.
testimonies are redacted. This thing is handed with white gloves by the hierarchy, and so this thing is a sham from day one until now. So now the lawyer is sick, so they delay. That's a way to intimidate a witness. Is it? Is it not? We're going to hear another witness, and she's going to testify the same. The first three testified exactly the same, but their experience was not to the extent of Virginia Roberts Guthrie's experience. So, to me, this whole thing is a joke. I still stand on saying they're going to give her very, very favorable treatment, and you're not going to hear the litany of people that should be brought into the witness booth and testify under oath from Hollywood and say, you were on the plane, what did you see? To corroborate, to cross-examine. And, now this thing is handled so well, so neat. It's so clean. In an industry where children were sexually abused, it's so clean.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with all the names in the Black Book, though.
Of course not.
Right? It doesn't have any, that Prince is in there, that Bill Clinton is in there, that there's untold number of... I've heard George Clooney's name thrown around.
Beyonce?
Beyonce. I mean, who knows?
Kevin Spacey.
Jay-Z, Spacey.
Everybody you've ever heard of probably flew on that plane with Jeffrey Epstein. And, did some pleasure-seeking thing on his little island or whatever.
But nobody's being questioned.
But nobody, and they will not. They're too powerful. They just won't allow it to get out. Because it should be out. We should know who those people are. Let's get the sunlight to disinfect this whole trial and this whole situation. And let's shed that light on it, but they're not going to.
Housekeeping staff on the island, the crew on the runway.
Right.
I mean, were they all blindfolded? They work blindfolded? They walk around I mean, there's thousands of witnesses. But none of them are called. One pilot who says, hey, I don't know, I'm sitting in the cockpit, the door closes. No, you idiot, you signed the manifest.
Right.
You know who's on the plane. You know the weight on the plane. When you fly private, you got to give your weight, what you're bringing, because it's all about load bearing. This is the biggest.
That's why Jeff, you can't get on any private planes, is because you got to know the weight. And,
that's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard.
Oh no, this thing it's so neat. It's got bubble wrap around it. It's very safe and secure. It's
sad.
It's a debacle. It's pathetic. It's really, a disgrace is what it is.
Well, it really is. And, it's frustrating, too, especially when we just finished with this big Kyle Rittenhouse trial where you had people, I can't tell you the number of awful threats and awful things that have been said to me, you're this, you're that, and people focus on this and they say, well, he got off because he was white. And it's like, guys, there's actual abuse of the court system going on. Let's look at this Ghislaine Maxwell trial. That really is like the powerful people of the world actually suppressing information and suppressing justice being done. Can we all look into that case instead of making up stupid things that don't exist? People are racist who are not racist and accusing them of somehow manipulating the court system. Like, it's just bonkers to me.
Pat was saying earlier, do some of these people that say some things even understand there was not a single black victim in the Kyle Rittenhouse case? But here's the deal. We had jurors followed home. People knew where the jurors lived in the Rittenhouse. It was so wide open. It was saying, come on, tamper, please tamper. This thing, the witness can't even testify.
Right.
Okay? I mean, there were some witnesses who were anonymous, and you were allowed to have anonymous sources. The judge ruled that they had to be made known. On the witness side, to intimidate and to threaten and for them to be silenced, to go, wait a minute, I was anonymous, now my name is out there, is to silence them.
And everything else is
Nobody talks about that.
Kept quiet.
No, and I said it before, I said it again, I'll say it to the end of the day. 26 years, I've been fighting sex trafficking. Ghislaine Maxwell is not tried for the right case. She is a sex trafficker. Her and her father, they chose Epstein. They made him. She needs to have the kitchen sink thrown at her as if she's the trafficker herself, not some damsel in distress accomplice, which is what they're going to plead. And you'll see. They're going to say, man, she was fearing for her life. She was under
they're barely making her an accomplice. I mean, she's just a damsel in distress right now. It's unbelievable.
It really is. All right, let's move on to something. I have a story here, but Pat, I want to ask you about a story that I heard that you are really onto, civil asset forfeiture. But there was a woman who got how much taken from her luggage?
$106,000. $823.
From
What?
TSA?
Yeah, and from
Like the dog sniffed it out.
The dog sniffed it out
was just
at the
cash.
airport here in Dallas
No.
at Love Field. Over
Cash.
$106,000 in cash. She had it wrapped in blankets in her luggage, and a dog hit on the luggage. Now, there's no allegation. There's no charge. No one was arrested. They took her money.
What?
Again, this civil asset forfeiture is one of the biggest problems in America that nobody cares about.
No.
And it's the most unconstitutional thing I've ever seen. They just take people's money with no charge, or even in many cases, no allegation of a charge. There's nothing to charge this woman with. She didn't have drugs on her. She didn't have weapons. She wasn't doing anything illegal. She just had cash. It is not illegal to carry cash.
No.
You could carry $10 billion in
a
cash
duffel
if
bag
you wanted
if you
to.
want.
Yeah.
So not, and again, not that it matters, but do you know, did she say like, yeah,
No.
I had it because of XYZ? I'm so
No.
curious. Not
I
that
bet-
it matters.
yes.
It would
I'm
just be
curious
nice.
as well.
She
Yeah, it would just
probably
be nice
doesn't-
for her to
she's
say.
But
probably
it's none of our business, really.
Right.
She probably
it's not.
doesn't trust the banks who's canceling anybody
Right.
who's conservative.
That could very well be.
Yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of times people are going to pay cash for a car or
Right.
Whatever.
the case may be.
Right,
But
right.
this is America. You don't have to even divulge that if you don't want to.
Incredible. And she's never going to get it back.
She's not going to get it back.
No.
Because you have to prove that you did nothing wrong to get it back. I'm sorry. That is the justice system upside down.
Yeah.
This is a really, really bad situation. And billions of dollars every year are taken from law-abiding citizens.
I'll tell you something. I'm really, really sick and tired of stuff like that happening in Dallas County.
Yeah.
Dallas County's in trouble. I mean,
Well, you've got Judge
Not-
Clay Jenkins.
It's
who
Clay Jenkins.
is
Oh, my gosh.
Little Napoleon over there.
what do you mean? The President of the United States calls the superintendent of Dallas ISD,
That's true.
Hinojosa, directly.
Yeah.
It's the President of the United States call a superintendent of a school district.
Yeah.
They've got plants throughout Dallas, Texas, where they, and I'd say all conservative cities, they have done a really, really good job for them planting their minions in the system. This kind of stuff should never happen in the state of Texas.
No, well, it shouldn't happen in
In
America.
the country,
America.
right.
But you're right. It certainly shouldn't happen in Texas.
Yeah, that's really scary stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we've got to take a break. We'll be back. I know, I heard that. Stephen was telling me about it, and I was like, what?
It drives me out. Yeah, because he's pissed.
Hey, before we finish, I want to make sure that you guys remember that there is now a limited time to buy Blaze Let's Go Brandon socks. All right, you can go to blazesocks.com, order your limited edition patriotic socks today. We've got the typical ones that are just very, very cute and look, that one that I'm holding in the front, they look like snowflakes, get into the Christmas spirit. And then we've got the ones that people will go, wait, is that a butt? Is that poop? Are those poop emojis? And you're like, yes. Yeah, it's a butt, right? I was like, how did management even sign off on this? I don't know, but they did.
So the ones on the left, you want to wear high water pants, okay?
Yeah.
The one on the right,
Right.
you want to wear the extra 2 inches.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
What?
blazesocks.com. Last I checked, they were already we only have a limited amount, and they were already more than halfway sold. And we just started selling them yesterday. So you're definitely not going to want to sleep on this if you want a pair. You got or 3. You got to go there. And then let's see. Do we have oh, wow. You guys are just circling through those. Let's do the let's do the review. So if you leave us a nice review, you may see it read live on air. You got to go to wherever you get your audio podcasts and make sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We've got one from Sam Da Woman who says, grown-up time. Love listening to News and Why It Matters. She is my grown-up talk during nighttime feedings that keep me awake long enough to get the baby back into her own bed. Reminds me there is conversation that doesn't revolve around diapers and socks. Thanks, Sarah. Well, that's really cute and nice. I appreciate it so much. Also, I'm jealous because my baby still doesn't sleep in his own bed. So you're ahead of me there. He's in the pack and play. He won't go. Thanks, guys.